I was born on 13th of December 1930 in Poland, województwo nowogródzkie, near small town Slonim. In the village, my parents had small holding in there. Unfortunately, now it is Belarusia, but then it was Polish, and we spoke Polish, of course, at home. But the local people spoke half Russian, half Polish, Belarusian language. It was 10 of February 1940. The war was on. We knew about it. I've heard some parents talking with friends. So of course, I was oblivious to it. It didn't interest me much. But we did hear some planes flying and some movement of army soldiers in the nearby. So life went on the farm as normal, really. Not suddenly, on 10th of February, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the soldier and few locals came armed with guns, came into our house, woke everybody. Mother was on her own because by then father was arrested in local, in Slonim police station, which was taken over by Russians and local politrooks, as they were known then. And so Mum was told to get her brood together. I remember being put on the sleigh. The snow was about waist deep. Temperatures well below freezing. And my eldest sister and brother, they were walking by the sleigh, and we were covered with feather beds and what have you to keep us warm. The youngest was 2 years old, Marisha. The neighbors came and they advised the people, the soldiers, and the local politrooks came. Said, everything will be provided there. We're taking you away from the war zone into a safe place. But the friends of family came and said they brought sacks of bread, dry bread and suhari, and whatever, milk and cheese and dry food into the sacks and onto the sleigh. We were taken to Slonim by sleigh, and there my sister was allowed to go and see father. And she's seen him against the wall, and the soldier was ready to shoot. But Bronia, myself, the elder sister, she shouted, "Oh, Tata." And he turned around, and it was one of her friends, local chap, Belarusian, Russian. And the father survived by that. But he didn't come onto the train. They put us on the cattle trains with just openings at the top, no windows, and there were, I remember, wooden planks, 2 lots, so you couldn't sit up properly. If you sat on it, that was our sleeping area. And there was an iron stove in the middle. They packed us like sardines, and we traveled in those conditions. Father didn't come with us then. In those conditions for over 3 weeks. All I could see is just snow-covered pine trees at the side. Was forestry. Train was long. It looked like hundreds of wagons on the turnings. It was, of course, a steam train, and as children we enjoyed it in a way. But problem were, I don't remember what we ate. I remember mother picking snow through the space at the top of the wagon, and then near the stove, and that was our drinking water. And I remember my hair freezing to the wagon wall. Anyhow, we got into Vologotska Oblast. Sokol was the camp, previous war prisoners camp, into wooden shacks. And there was communal baths. And it was very marshy area when spring came. My sister and my brother were taken to work in the cutting of trees, woods. And mother got to know that father was nearby in Cegielnia, brick factory. When amnesty came, there were no communication, no newspaper, nothing. There was just one radio in the camp, and those that understood Russian, they knew how productive Russian workers were and things like that. Nothing about the war. But then there was change, and the father came to join us, and we were told that there is a Polish army being formed, and General Anders released. And so father was eager to join, to go south. But mother was reluctant because she, obviously we lost the youngest sister there, and she had great difficulty of feeding us. We survived on frozen potatoes and onions and woodland berries and mushrooms. So she didn't want to move. I can't remember the date, but we went onto the trains again. It was winter because we went from Sokol, the camp, into Vologda, which is the big railway station. And I remember ice on the streets and people sitting frozen up, corpses. I didn't realize what it was, but there was no time to ask about it. There were people, they put us in some waiting room, which was, I think, army barracks. And to go from one point to another, you had to either step onto the people because they were lying about, sitting about with little possession bags and things covered up with whatever rugs they had. Went down south to Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, into Caspian Sea. What was anyhow, the port, I just forgot it now, into Pahlavi, Tehran, and we were fed then. We didn't have any possessions at all. We were put into namioty, tents in the Shah's Pahlavi's park, which we graciously gave to United Nations. We were under British command, if you like. Father was by then in the army. My elder sister was in the army. We met them in Buzluk in Kazakhstan. They were in uniform, British uniform, but they were in the Polish army. In Tehran, I began Polish school under the fig tree. I can't forget it. Sitting on the bricks in the park, or stones or what have you. It was very strange, the camp, because we lived in a tent and few families, and partitioned by a blanket. And there was my 3 brothers and one sister. I can't remember eating, I can't remember washing, how it was. I think it was communal. I can remember the latrines way off. I had communion, first communion, which I can hardly remember, in Tehran. That's when my religion really began. I must say my parents, father more so, but mother, she was a good person, but she didn't have time with 8 of children. She didn't have time to take care of us like we do now, take to the classes here, take them to classes there, or go to church. We went on Sundays. The church was walking distance, and sometimes the horse wasn't available to take us on the cart. So we stayed put. So I felt religion when I came to England, really. In Russia a little bit, because we did pray. And it sustained us. It sort of gave us some hope. But thoughts of Poland were paramount. We were homesick, I don't know, after our houses, after our community there. We missed, when Easter came, we missed going to church with baskets of eggs and things like that. Same at Christmas. In coming to England from Mombasa, it was quite, I was, 17 then, and enjoying the area and the good food. The first good food we've had. We had some tin fruit and tea, which I didn't know. We were in the camp first. No communication with local English people until father bought a house in Lincoln. And then we had neighbors, and they were very nice. I remember going to watch first television. It's about that size, 10 by 10, black and white, as large as your what is it, camera. And we felt strange because for 10 years in camps we were not civilized. We didn't see covered table, we didn't see plates or proper cutlery. So it was, we were quite primitive. But English were nice. They accepted us. I went straight into nursing school in Lincoln. It was called Bracebridge Heath Hospital, into nursing home. And matron was very kind to personally, because I was one Polish girl and 3 men, Polish men, and 1 German girl, and several Irish girls. And when it was assembly in the dining room for meal, I was so straight. I didn't know what to take, fork or knife or spoon, but the girls were very nice, matron in particular. She was Scottish. And I found the English girls pleasant. They didn't leave me behind, they didn't talk behind me or anything. The tutor Englishman was he was exceptional, because I think matron had something to do with it. She must have told him that take care of this poor girl, because her English, the boys, Polish men, they were much older than me, about 40, 50. They knew English from army, so they were a little bit of a help. But English staff, mainly matron and tutor, they were exceptionally good. So I managed to finish the course, and then I met my husband. We used to attend Nottingham Cathedral Mass, which was packed then. But the choir, Polish choir, was so fantastic. I was more tempted by the choir than actual service, because I couldn't see service, because we usually came late and we stood outside. I think the school in Africa, which was Polish school, they bombarded us. We had excellent professors. And the history, Polish history, and all the writers and kings and queens and all the history, it was so fantastic, poetry and everything else, that they instilled the love of Poland and patriotism, because the boys were in the army. Some girls communicated with the elder girls, because Lyceum girls in Africa, they had dances, social dances and things, and we could not attend them because at 16, 17 we were too young, so we went around and looked through the spaces in the wall, because our huts didn't have proper windows in that camp. So being Polish meant so much to me, and I was on my best behavior in England, because not because I wanted to impress because I'm good, but because I was Polish. I didn't want to insult Poland, Polish feelings. And there was, in Lincoln, organized a choir and theatre, little theatre. We had little plays there. And dances were in Nottingham because it was so we used to come to dances. And traveling on the train with my English, already being student nurse, I was so determined not to miss Nottingham. I concentrated on names, but on every station there was OXO in big, big letters. And I thought, strange country, every station is the same name. It's about a year or two before I realized what. Same going in Lincoln on Saturday, the shops. Every door was closet, closet, closet. It was so strange. But in direct contacts with people, there was no problem. We lived in Baseford, first home. There was my parents, Waterford Street in Nottingham, 42 Waterford Street. I married in Lincoln, actually. We bought our house, when we bought our house in Lincoln, with bathroom and garage, all Polish community came to have a look. Because majority of us have had what we could buy, what they could buy, little terraced houses with very, very poor sanitation. I remember when children came, that was in Nottingham, when changing them at night, it was steam coming because the windows were frozen in the bathroom. We had to bring into the bathroom the kettle with hot. Anyhow, we survived. It was hard time, really. It was very, very hard living for us, for adults, because the earnings were very small. Prices were, I remember, bus threepence, things like that, or a bun was, I don't know, penny or something like that. But our standard of living was poor compared to today, what we can afford today. We worked very hard. We helped each other to decorate, to do the garden, things like that. We kept with Polish group because similarities. We were all in the same, the offices and the lower ranks, we were all in the same kettle, if you like. So there were quite clever men who thought like Polish Club, but in Lincoln. Same in here, when we came to, married in Lincoln, came to Nottingham, because my sisters were already in Nottingham and I used to live in Nottingham. So, and there was the Air Force Association in Lincoln, but also in here, and we used to come to Polish functions here, ball and things, in the Black Boy Hotel. It was great big events there. Lucky, there were some men with education from Poland, and they knew what life is about, that community, to exist, we need some locum. So these premises were already here when we came, but I remember collecting money, going around the houses, just passed the driving test and couldn't drive properly, but the roads were different then. Managed to go from addresses to collect some finances for the church. The Polish school was very important. How I managed, I don't know. It started in Lincoln. 3 kids, one in pram, one sitting on pram, and one by the pram. And it was about 4 miles I had to walk on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, children had music lessons and ballet for the girls, and they resented it because their friends went for football and swimming, and our kids had to go to Polish school. But I took them religiously, 3 miles there with the pram. On the way back, bought some buns to treat them. And I think that was it had to be done because we felt at ease in Polish community. And everybody was in the same, more or less, same shoes. And we sang same songs and talked about the same experiences. Men in the army, the Air Force, I remember pilots coming, friends of my husband coming, and they discussed war and situation after the war, how hurt they were by the government, that the Poland wasn't free. They fought for free Poland and they fought very gallantly, but it was denied them and they were a little bitter about it. That perhaps glued us together because we went through such a lot of hardship and been disappointed by the governments, by those that could have done different. So I haven't experienced it, but I've heard a friend of my husband talking how they were hurt, deeply hurt. They couldn't go back to Poland. They had parents there, and some had wives and children. They couldn't go because of the regime. Children went to Christmas parties, just like other English children. There were friction between children and parents, mainly mother. Because children, I think it's played more worse for them than us, because I was adult then and busy around the house. But children felt it being different because they didn't join their friends, school friends, in relaxation, in football or swimming or what have you, or just going to the park because the Saturday was taken. And when they got old, why must I go to Polish school? They didn't like it. But it came to be that it's a big plus for children now. My husband he went to Manchester because they had no jobs from army. He went on a course, trained for refrigeration engineer. And he worked for Co-op for 30 years. I worked for nursing 30 years. I was quite good at my work, didn't have any problems, when I was promoted to sister, I felt that the girls are jealous, the English. And I had to be very careful not to do anything silly, not to do anything out of improper, because I'll be stigmatized twice as much as the English would be. So I worked as a nurse, not as much as a nurse, but I wanted to be correct because I'm Polish. I can't do anything wrong because I'm Polish, because it will be such blame, it will go among the Polish people. So I think I contributed a lot. I was helped a lot of people. I was in acute admission. There were a few Polish clients as well, patients. We call them patients, now they're clients. So I think I've did contribute to the welfare of English folks, if you like. Religion played a very, very big role because of hope, and we felt that there's something, it's not the end of the world. The sun will rise for us and it'll be all beautiful. And it came like that. I said my prayers and asked God for care, and it gave me strength. It's no worries, what will come will come. So I think church plays in my life and my relatives and my community, Polish community, it gives us lots of support and strength. not physically, not financially, but it's one thing that keeps us together.